Guys, go ahead and turn off your camera, King, while I'm testing. Because I have it live, but they can't hear you. I don't want they seeing you either. All right, I sent one to your the link to the actual thing to you, and I sent it to Jaydub on your Twitter. It's called the Addict Show. What? Oh no, I don't. I try to keep it consistent, but it's hard to do videos, ILP, and keep track of all this.
Well,
All right,
Oh, 'cause
now
you ain't
now people
live
can
yet.
hear
see
you.
it,
Now people
yeah.
can hear you.
I see it though.
You see it?
Hold on, I'm gonna send
I
it
don't
to
see
you.
any. Okay, here we go. Couldn't
It's
wait.
two
till
T's
I-
probably.
All right,
No, I
Kid
just
Smooth
sent it
then.
to I just sent it to you on the on your DMs on Facebook, King.
Yeah, but I don't have my Facebook link to my computer.
Sick.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that.
Do you want me to send it on this Here, I'll send it here.
Oh, there it is.
Okay, I see it.
Wait.
Oh man, let me mute
That's
that.
why we went live a little early, you guys, trying to make sure everything's up to date.
There we go. We good.
No, let me see. Oh, gaming addict. Riri. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I'm gaming.
I'm
I
not
thought
listening to you.
I thought you were
I'm
asking
done.
what the
I'm done. I
podcast
asked-
is
You
called.
heard me ask him, right? I asked
I heard,
him.
I heard you.
I'm like,
No, you asked what the
dude.
podcast was called. Did he not ask what the podcast was
Man,
called?
listen, forget about it, man. Enough with you, man. Here it is, right here. I got it, man. This dude, man. Let me close this over here. This man.
All right, let me tweet. I'm gonna tweet this out.
We haven't had. Usually Jaydub's the one that does these with me,
Oh, that's what's up.
but
Yeah.
it's just been so long. Since...
Well, you know, I'm the only reason why I'm on this week is because there's a lot of stuff going on this week. You know what it is. So I said, let me get in now because I got to go to Macy's. I got to do some shopping. Because anytime I go on to any of these trips, I just buy fresh clothes. No, not fresh clothes, but new clothes, like, you know, underwear, socks, and all that other stuff. I don't like packing clothes. I buy new clothes and just throw it inside the suitcase.
Hey, I'm that
and go.
same way. It's easier
Yes.
to just get a couple of packs, pack it up.
That's it. And it's already wrapped. It's a very wrapped.
You gonna end up in another city with a mismatched sock and all.
Oh, could you imagine? Or you get out there, you grab the wrong underwear. Oh, this is the gym underwear with the hole in the side. Oh, bro. No, I can't have that. I just go new.
You know, your mama say never get caught with holy underwear.
Oh, God forbid.
Kid Smooth, like, I can't help that you work till 6. The only reason I'm able to do is because my boss decided that I didn't want to work this week. So
he decided for you.
Yeah, and what's funny is, like, I've been with this company for almost 4 years. And she hired like 5 new people and my hours get cut. Like, why don't you work them 3 days a week and keep my hours? But she already made the schedule, so it's pointless complaining.
Yes, that's right.
So I was just like, I told her, I was like, look,
don't complain.
I was like,
because nobody cares.
I was like, look, I really need my hours at least 4 days a week next schedule, because it's the only way this is feasible for me.
Yeah.
All right, so we're about to start.
All right, they good. They say they can hear us. So
they in there? They already hearing us? Yeah. Ooh, God forbid.
Yeah, they'll when you hit the live stream, they will come.
Oh, okay. I just didn't hope they wasn't hearing me cursing up a storm.
No. They didn't hear you curse at all.
Okay.
I had you guys muted when you was cursing.
I appreciate that, sir.
Yeah, that's why I had you turn off your camera so they couldn't read your lips.
Yeah, right. He's cursing up a storm.
What's going on, you guys? Gaming out here, coming at you for another Addict show where we speak everything gaming. So I have my co-host with me, Jaydub, but I also have a special edition character in here. So we got the Iron Lord himself, the Fraud Alert movement, KingDavid. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, and I got this just in case Jaydub get out of control.
Is that his kryptonite? Like when you use that, does that just stop him in his tracks?
His kryptonite is them 12 teraflops. That's what his kryptonite is.
And then we got Jaydub. You have so many names these days. You know what's funny? No one calls you Kratos anymore.
I officially retired that name 1 year to the day after God of War won the Game of the Year award. I officially retired that name, so I won't be Kratos again until part 2 drops, and then
You're not gonna be Kratos to that 12 teraflops is not out.
Jaydub today. Tomorrow I'll be Field's right hand man or something like my name.
He's Jaydub until that PS5 gets announced, because right now he don't want to make any kind of remarks while he's Jaydub, but when he's Kratos again,
I gotta keep my options open.
He said, I gotta keep my options open. I am so done.
So, we got a great show for you guys today. Obviously, for those of you who don't know, there will not be an ILP this week. I wanted to refer that because the Lords, minus myself, they're going to PAX East, so definitely, wish them good travels. But today, we got to talk about it, man. King, have you been seeing this info on the Series X?
Listen here. I was in the gym and then my phone went bananas, right? So Cog's like, call me now. And I'm like, what's going on? He said, Phil out here with his petty paws. I'm like, what is he talking about? Then he put the link in, and then I read it. And then I said, this is the king that I was looking for. This is the leader. This is the Caesar. This is how you get that Aurelius name. He's going so hard, to get this Aurelius name, because we know we call him Phil Dominus Maximus Spencer, but soon to be Aurelius. And to get that Aurelius name, I said, well, to do the unthinkable is to have the Game Pass on PlayStation 5, right? But to dominate all the way through, I think that's how you obtain the name. Because let's be honest with you, the PlayStation 5 is going to come out, and it's very doubtful in the beginning, unless something drastic happens, that Game Pass is on PlayStation 5. I just put some unattainable goal up in the sky. But how he's moving right now with giving you information when the other team isn't, that means you have your ear to the street. That means you're listening to the cries of both sides. And if one person is not giving a fan base what they're asking for, you provide your fan base with that. And then you might turn some people that's on the fence to your side because they're seeing true transparency with a company that we've never had anything like this. Let's be honest, we haven't had this at all. Jaydub, have you seen Xbox like this?
I haven't. I haven't at all, and I think you guys probably remember me seeing back at the awards show when Phil came out and showed the X Series X and showed Hellblade. I told y'all, I said, this is the company I wanted to see. This is the secure in what their messaging are. This is the company that we need. This is that competition that we're looking for. That's what I wanted. And so far, man, they haven't been letting down so far. I'm glad that they've heard our cries, and it seems like they got their stuff together. Hopefully they can keep it up.
We just need the game.
We just listen. At the end of the day, they got the power. They got Game Pass. I mean, that in itself is a game changer. You can go and buy Xbox Series X and have over 200 games at your hand, plus all the games that you bought the previous generations going to be there for you. So it's a no-brainer, right? So they win across the board. The only thing they need to convince are the diehards, the people that have been riding the die with them. They need to show them this. These are the games. This is where that power is going. It's going into this game here. It's going into that game.
And, you know, I'm glad that you brought up hardcore because a lot of people, you know, casual does make up the majority of the market, but I think a lot of people forget that the hardcore sells the consoles to their friends at the beginning of the generation, and it's like a domino effect. You know, I say, oh, my cousin Sage, he's a casual, but yo, this game's awesome. He buys an Xbox. He tells his friends they buy an Xbox, and I feel like that's the majority of what happened at the beginning of the generation. Everyone bought PS4, so their friends bought PS4s, the family bought PS4s, and it's like a plague. I'm only going to refer it to a plague if it's attached to the PlayStation. All right, it's not an Xbox plague; it's a PlayStation plague. But you know, I really feel like when it comes to what's going on right here, I feel like when Phil Spencer first took the spot, he was like, look, we are bad right now. So, you know, this entire generation, I feel like he was just keeping this ship from sinking. And he was like, by the way, when I get to the shore, I want that Series X boat done. Like, I want to get straight on this boat and on that boat that's not sinking, don't got a bunch of holes. He's been taking the buckets for the past couple of years and just keeping it from sinking into the water.
I think the change happened when he put the Don box in the bushes.
Yeah.
Like, I think that Don box was ugly. It was robust because they were fearful of the red ring of death, right? So it didn't have any sleekness to it. If it's going to be square, but make it a nice, decent square. You didn't give them anything pleasing to look at. I thought the PlayStation was pleasing to look at visually. I thought the price-wise was pleasing to look at, and I thought the messaging was pleasing. So in all three facets, the PlayStation was winning. Visually, price-wise, economically, and also in the mind shit. That's how they gained that right there. So even if the hardcore was purchasing the PlayStation, right? They purchased it at a reduced price, $100 cheaper, with a more powerful system. How the hell, in this day and age, you think you're gonna sell a system with something that they've been going in on with that camera to connect?
Yeah,
you have it separate. I understand the mindset with Don going in was we sold so many before with it. We did a lot of research and development with this Connect Part 2, and it does all this wonderful stuff. And if we put it in the box and jam it down their throats, we can get a whole bunch of these games made, not knowing that wave had already ended. Just as quick as that fad came in, that fad was over with.
That's true.
Right? So, okay, now you're stuck with something in the box nobody asked for. They're talking about spy cameras and all that stuff that was going on with Snowden. All that, once that Snowden stuff hit, that put fear into people. All right. So now we don't want this because that thing is always on watching us. We don't know what Microsoft is doing and reporting. And then it comes out and find out later on that they are listening. All right. So that right there within itself is terrible. The price range is terrible. And the messaging was terrible. They was at a triple loss situation. There was no way in hell you was going to beat somebody that was in lockstep. The only thing that I'm concerned with certain things right about now is I love the way Microsoft is moving. Right. And I love the competition factor. I don't like the way certain things that's happening at Sony.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the people that were in charge, the people that I was comfortable with. It's like having a comfortable blanket that you had that you always could, because I know Sean Layden would do what Sean Layden gonna do. You know, Mr. Dramatic, Mr. got that flair.
They gone now,
right?
Yeah.
Jaydub, don't you remember when he came out? I think he always had a flair of the dramatic.
Yep.
It was beautiful to see.
Yeah.
You know, and I think with getting rid of some of these individuals that understand the essence and the DNA of Sony, you lose something. Like the way that this guy is Dance Move Ryan is sitting there. He's not. I don't like. I'll be honest with you. I don't like his leadership role. I don't like what's going on.
Yeah,
I really don't.
I'm a backdoor that with this here. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think many PlayStation guys in the gaming community or even the media are sure of Jim Ryan at this point in time. He has a show and tell, a show and prove type aura about him with me and with other PlayStation guys, and I'm gonna give you a reason why.
Hold on, let me interrupt you for 1 second before we continue this. Now, a lot of people are very, skeptical of him, but he was one of the people. He said multiple times that, he does believe in the first party. But one of the things that I really want to, stretch on is how he did say that he's really, really supporting, the streaming service. So do you think that might affect the overall future of PlayStation if they're trying to, divide the resources to handle that as well as maintain their first party, second party, and their console platform?
Well, I'm going to repeat what various big name guys that know about the industry and know about the ins and outs of Sony's have said. And that gives me comfort as a gamer and PlayStation going forward. PlayStation's their aura, their godliness about them lies in their first party studios.
No, which ones?
The Naughty Dogs, Japan Studios, the Guerrilla Games, the Sony Santa Monica's. I mean, we can keep going.
I feel like they only really got 3 studios though. They
have a ton of them.
No, they got good studios, but they only got 3 platinum studios.
That's all you need.
Listen, no, they got more than that. Think about it, right?
Dreams. We're gonna talk about the Dream Studio.
No, yeah. Let me talk about the Dream Team, right?
Oh my God.
you got God of War. You got Spider-Man. You got.
I forgot of Insomnia. I'll give that. Like, I don't think Insomniacs. I don't think they're that S-ranked studio, but I do think they're a good studio.
But okay, forget it. Okay, let's look at their output, their games, right? The majority of their games that they've output this generation have been. They sold over 10, 15, 20 million games. People can't wait for the sequel. And these are undeniable games, right? And even their smaller games that they have a base. They then you have the VR. You can't deny their studios, no matter what. You can say, and then you got to think about it. You can't
deny their studios. I'm going to deny.
You get their second party studio deals. The Neos, the Yakuzas, all the other stuff that I know a lot of people discount because it's not the big stuff, but this is consistent. This is what keep them as a global brand. The people over in Japan love these games. People over here in the West love these games. Sure, they might not sell 20 million copies, but if you can keep cranking out 5-6 million, that's a win. So you got to realize. I know a lot of people say, well, they only have 3. They only have The Last of Us. But you got to realize you still got Ghost of Tsushima. That game may come out.
But we have to. We cannot say Ghost of Tsushima is the gravy of the biscuits. We got to see the game first, Jaydub.
I did.
It looked very good.
Let me finish first. I said
okay.
That's a new IP, right? They had.
And it looks good for a new IP. It looks promising.
Getting a sequel got rave reviews. I know the Metacritic score was shaky at first because they didn't let it come out with the patch or whatever in the beginning. So they have a good stable amount of content that people are thoroughly waiting on sequels to.
Now,
on top of their new games that they have coming out, they just have so much content. And
all right, but I do have some criticism.
I'm thankful that regardless of Jim Ryan running it, Shuhei Yoshida, or Sean Layton, that these studios, with their talent, is still going to shine, no matter what kind of internal turmoil they may have, or whether we like this guy or not. The games are undeniable.
All right,
You know,
I
we can't
do. I do have some criticism. All right, there's a lot of people at the beginning of, this generation. They said that, Xbox didn't have diversity. They needed more types of games. Now, to me, I feel like it's flipped now. I feel like Xbox has a more diverse lineup than PlayStation. What would you say to that statement, Jay?
I would say that's a false narrative. That's no way in the world.
Because I mean, how would you not see that? I mean, they got the RPG.
Show me the.
They got the RPGs. They got the platformers. They got a lot of different types of gameplay now. They got the RTSs.
This is what you have.
They got the racers. They got the first-person shooters, the third-person action adventures. Do you see what I'm saying, King? Like,
no, I understand what he's saying, but let him rebuff this first before I even explain what's been going on.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing, right? What you're saying is a Me Too. Oh well, they have.
Oh my God! You did not just say
no. I mean, not that. I mean, like they have that too. That's what I. Maybe I should choose to do.
Yeah, no, I understand what he's saying. Go
ahead. But this is something that PlayStation has had since 2013, right? Remember the NACS? That's your platform, right? Regardless of what you think about it, this is something that Sony has always had. Sony went from, remember y'all used to call it the indie station? Oh, they got these. Well, now that became an asset for Sony, right?
Well, that's what I'm going to go in on. That's what. See, this is why I want you to flesh out your idea and your view, so I can explain, because my view on it. I'll explain in a second.
Okay, so Sony has VR, right? On top of the VR, you have the Moss, you have the Iron Mans, you have the all these other games, right? And that comes on that. And I'm going to stick this to the side. But the diversity of having the Shadow of the Colossus being able to come back and come out and get good reviews. You have stuff like Dreams. You have I mean, you can just keep going down the line with their secondary games that they have. That
you know what?
Sony has the racing too, right? Think about it. They have They got the Gran Turismo, stuff like that.
And what was that other game in the beginning that I liked?
Drive Club.
Drive Club.
I love that Drive Club. I love that.
But I just thought of something, Jay.
It looked beautiful.
You're definitely riding the diversity, because I feel like you can make more of diverse games than Dreams. Make them all look like that N64.
Enough of the slander. All right, listen, guys. I see that chat moving, but I don't see no color. We ain't gonna change like this ain't Sunday.
What you talking
about? Put that color in there. Stop playing. All right, so check this out, right? If you want to be heard, let me see it so I can hear you. Because there's a lot of people in here, right? How many people we got in here?
We got 38.
Hey man, we got
38. Let's get those likes up. Let's get those likes up. It should be more people. Me and Kratos command a lot of people. Stop playing.
Facts. Come on.
You want his training in there? Put it in there. Let me see that, Porter Rock. Tell me his training. Put it in color. Let me see. I see you, Porter Rock, but I don't see color. Anyway, in the beginning, the PlayStation had absolutely nothing, right? Xbox came with their bangers all the way through, but the messaging was stupid. They stumbled. The price was high, and no stuff went on deaf ears. Sony had the indies. They needed time to build the base. See, what Sony knew in the beginning, let's build it up before we release those bangers. So they gave you that, what was that game that I liked?
The Killzone.
Yes, the Killzone. The Killzone really showed off the system to me. I thought Killzone looked beautiful. Then Drive Club came out, and then they added to it and kept adding to the game, because the initial, they really wanted it out the door to deal with Forza. But at first it wasn't up to snuff. But by the time the game is fully fleshed out, if you go purchase that game now, put it in right now, it is a phenomenal game. When they added the weather and all that stuff to it, yes, I thought their lineup was lacking, and they supplemented it with the indies. And I thought that was a great idea, where Microsoft really wasn't paying the indies no mind. They thought their first parties will hold them down. But then what happened when you had no games and you had to wait that cycle for those games to refresh? You didn't have any indies. Then Sony games started coming in. Then you started getting God of War, Spider-Man, Ratchet and Clank, and these games is hitting, they're banging. The prices, they're selling.
It's like we said at the beginning of the generation. Microsoft had a certain time frame to do something before Sony's games started shooting on all cylinders. And about 2016, 17, that's when they started shooting at all cylinders.
But you know what's going to happen now, right? And this is the difference now. The difference now is Phil is a student of the game. Phil Dominus Maximus Spencer is a student of the game. If he watches something, you're not going to catch him with the same move twice. You understand? So this generation, he's already setting the tone and setting the pace. Before, they were behind. There was a half step behind and $1 short. Always. And we came into that whole opinion of hard luck Xbox. There go that hard luck Xbox again. Look at them. They're stumbling and bumbling. You can't believe. Hold on. That's my watch. Yeah, turn that off. All right. You can't believe that Microsoft made that mistake. Again, look at them. They can't get out their own way. Right, Jay? I know you were saying, look at them stumbling over their self.
Yep.
This is impossible. How can you mess that up? How can you Patrick Hugh in a situation? Finger rolling the situation when you had to win. All right. So now you're seeing they're setting it up in a manner that, okay, you're going to get a couple of first party games, but they told you, yo, don't look for those exclusive games until a year in. And that always happens anyway.
Yeah.
It's just he's telling you ahead of time.
Yeah.
So now you understand, okay, I'm looking forward to this. We always get those cross-gen games in the beginning. We always get those hold you down until the cavalry shows up games. We always get that cannon fodder stuff in the beginning. So now he's telling you there's no reason for you to be upset with it. But at the same time, you got Game Pass. So if you have your Game Pass, you got your Halo at launch. You got whatever first party games at launch. And if you want to buy your Call of Duties and the other games that's taking advantage of your system, you can do so at your leisure because you have money left over to do so. So you're setting it up financially. Now what we got to see is the numbers.
Supplement.
Yes.
That's a supplement. Yeah.
So like I saw one guy put, I want to buy my games in the beginning. I want to go and spend $1,000.
Come on, King. Come on.
What?
Come on, man. You listen. You know these dudes. You know that be some fanboy stuff. Ain't nobody in their right mind when you can get it for free want to spend money.
Yeah, that don't make no sense, Jay. I'm like, see this. I'm begging for you Sony dudes to be upset, to force Sony to adopt a Game Pass type of strategy with PlayStation now.
Yeah,
I want that stuff.
I'm gonna tell you why that won't happen from a Sony fanboy, Sony gamer type of, because when you're winning, when you're in a winning solution, when you're in a winning situation, people feel like it's working for you. Don't rock the boat. Don't change nothing.
Say that again.
People feel like when you're in a winning situation, you don't have to change anything. Don't rock the boat. Don't change anything. You win it.
So because Microsoft is losing, we got Game Pass and we got them bending the knee to make sure that they can get the fan base in. Yes?
Yes. That's why this generation, Microsoft needed this generation to happen for gamers to get what they need. And this is why competition works. Competition matters. Because if not, you're going to have one just going to start kind of like EA. EA just give you whatever they want.
That same Madden.
The same Madden for 2 decades. Where else you going to go to play football? Nowhere else. You ain't got no choice.
So Jay, this is very important with what you're saying. Do you need Sony to lose in order for them to win?
That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Now,
you were just kind of saying that. You said Microsoft's losing this generation helped the gamers overall.
That helped. Think about it. Microsoft losing, right? They won. I'll give it to Microsoft, right? Even though they didn't have the total sales, last generation was a W. Right? They came from out of nowhere. The previous generation, they rocked the boat. They blew it out the park last generation. I'll give it to you. The 360 was a huge W for Microsoft. They faltered, right? They took advantage of Sony getting cocky last generation. So most PlayStation gamers feel like this generation was their comeback from having such a horrible generation and an humbling experience last generation. So this generation, Microsoft got that same wake-up call, that same humbling, They got cocky. They tried to go TV, not realizing it was about games. And they got their head kicked in, and rightfully so. And guess what? What came of that? Now the decisions you see in Phil make, now some of this stuff that they're doing is a direct result of getting your back kicked in.
All right.
Sony got their back kicked in last generation. Remember, people don't remember them coming out with a $600-700 console.
Remember,
with
they
no
told you
rumble
get
in the
another job.
controller, with
They
no
told you
game,
So
telling
Jaydub,
you to go get another job and mortgage your house. Like, come on, like people don't realize that they had 3 bad years.
So
The whole PlayStation Network got hacked and went down. It was horrible. Sony want to forget that. Now here's the thing, right? Why I think Sony won't fall into that same situation again. And this is, you can say this is Jaydub being hopeful, but because the whole Sony corporation relies on the PlayStation doing well, they have no choice but to go balls to the walls, games, giving you what you're looking for. Because if that doesn't work out for them, Sony, the corporation, can't take another generation like they had. They're going out of business, period. The whole corporation.
So
that scares them, and that keeps them aligned with they have no choice but to make sure that PlayStation is successful.
one of the biggest things I really, want to focus on, because I normally try to keep these relatively short, so we're going to go ahead and move on with that particular part of this. But this, for the most part, let's talk about this Xbox. A lot of people throughout the beginning of this year and like the end of last year, they had a lot of doubt that the Series X was 12 teraflops. Well, today it was officially announced that, they announced a lot of the features for the Series X. They announced that it's 12 teraflops. Have you seen that list yet, J-Dub? I'm sure you have.
Yeah, I saw
I'm sure
it.
you have. So, it's got 12 teraflops, variable rate shading, hardware acceleration, DirectX ray tracing, quick resume for multiple games, and smart delivery. Now, to my knowledge, smart delivery is pretty much cross-buy where you want to cross-buy anything. It just works on the other console. And if they do some type of patch like they did on the Xbox One X, it will unlock it automatically. Is that what that is?
Yeah.
All right. So what I want to ask is, did you believe that it was 12 teraflops before Xbox officially announced it, or were you a little surprised by it officially being 12 teraflops?
Well, Phil came out and told us it was twice as powerful as the Xbox One X. So you can't be twice more powerful and you're not twice as more powerful. I mean,
let's look at that super chat real quick from Mods Gaming. $10 super chat. Jim Ryan led PlayStation 4 to success in Europe. Yes and no. Yes and no, because there was already in more established countries in Europe. They already had the pipeline set up. If you know anything with infrastructure, all you have to do is supply and demand. So what they were doing was making sure that the demand and supply met the expectations of the individuals that were there. So he didn't go out and establish different pipelines and make it happen. Those things was already established before he even took charge.
I think one of the biggest mistakes they made in Europe was losing FIFA, but that's besides that. They lost the marketing rights to FIFA, and that's a huge sport over there.
Oh yeah.
I honestly, on that, when it comes to FIFA, I don't think it changed the outcome any, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because PlayStation got that foothold with the third-party marketing deals for all the other stuff, like the Call of Duties and stuff like that. I think people felt like, well, FIFA is going to sell more on the PlayStation anyway, whether they have the marketing rights or not, and it's just because sheer size.
Yeah,
so,
plus,
is that really worth Sony spending, $50 million, $200 million, whatever it takes to get that?
Apparently, it was because they got the marketing rights. They had to put some type of money up for that.
No. I want you to understand what I'm saying, right? When it comes to these marketing deals and stuff, there is a such thing as return on investment, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get to a point where your return on investment is not worth that risk. And Microsoft has done the same thing this generation as well. They had the Call of Duty marketing stuff, right? That was their thing. They got to a point where we can keep shelling out hundreds of millions of dollars for this marketing thing, and it's still going to sell more on PlayStation anyway. Is it really worth it? People still, if you have a Xbox, you still going to buy Call of Duty on my system anyway. It's not worth it for me to spend $100 million on this game, and it's still going to sell more elsewhere. We still going to get our 20, 30 million, Yeah, I'm just throwing numbers out here. So don't.
Well, I mean, you could save that money and put it into buying a
your own
studio,
stuff.
research
Exactly.
and development into a game,
Exactly.
opposed to the fact that all right, FIFA is already synonymous with
There is a good
Sony and
chance that
Europe.
that's exactly
You
what
know?
they did. They let those marketing rights go so they can buy these studios and put more money into these studios.
You need to have money in hand in order to do so. Now, you can't waste it on marketing a game that is already synonymous and you already captured a fan base and you're not seeing the fan base grow. So if you're not seeing the fan base grow, is it necessary to keep marketing to people that's on the outside that's purchasing it elsewhere? No, because all you're doing is marketing the game for the other console.
Yeah. So listen, you don't become, and I keep telling dudes this, you don't become a trillion.
Yeah, I'm going to. We got $2 super chat from Joey Bait 33. Xbox paid for multiple exclusive content on the 360. He's got a point there. You know, they paid for
listen,
the Japanese. They got Mass Effect. They paid for what was the other one? BioWare's games.
Yeah, but so also when they did that, when they did that, they also were leading in hardware. They were also they were the market leader. They had the install base. They had the fan base there to cater to that.
I do feel like
mama had an Xbox, so that was for that.
I feel like they tried that at the beginning of this generation, and when it didn't work out so well, I feel like, you know, when Phil got in here, he's like, look, you know, he was ahead of all of that for a while. He's like, this isn't feasible in the long run. If we want to stay in this industry, we got to have our own studios making our games. And, you know...
do you understand why they paid for multi-plat exclusive content on the 360? The PlayStation was an established juggernaut. You're the new kid on the block with the first Xbox. So they heard your name, but they really don't know who you are. Yeah. So when the marketing... See, it was getting the brand built. 360 built the brand. Right, and all in one swoop, the Xbox One almost destroyed that brand that was built by the 360, that goodwill that was built going forward. So you knew Call of Duty was over here.
I don't think
playing on the Xbox. You knew Madden or whatever was playing on the Xbox because you knew about these exclusive deals. You knew that you can get this. Once you establish, like Jay said, the return on investment isn't there. You establish a beachhead. Yes. There's no need for you to keep building up sand blocks for something that's not going to come over. You have to make sure that you use that money wisely and diversify your portfolio. And I believe that they did that. Let's get that next super chat.
So we got a $5 super chat from Tori's DRE Dre. Understand that RDNA 2 is next generation architect. This is huge. Xbox Series X will deliver the next gen leap we all want. You know, I didn't realize how big of an issue this was. Like, not an issue, but how big this was until I actually did a little research. Because I was like, as I talked to KingDavid, I was like, okay. He's like, no, it's RDNA 2. And I'm like, thinking to myself, I don't even know what that is. I had to go look that up. Like, apparently that's a big thing.
It's not even in PCs right now.
It's new tech.
Right, so this
brand new tech. It kind of reminds me of the jump between, obviously we're not going to have this jump, but the jump between the Xbox and the 360, where the 360 had tech that was never in any kind of PC.
Yo, I got some breaking news real quick. Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder. Tyson Fury gloves are suspect. They're taking it under review right now. His championship might be overturned.
Oh, shit. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, but man.
We're not on IOP.
Well, this is Sunday.
I'm sorry, man.
We're not on IOP.
I ain't gonna lie, that was...
Yeah. His championship might be overturned. I just got this breaking news right now.
What, can you explain to us what?
I can't. I got to go into it. So, you know, being that we're live right now, I will go into it a little bit later. I'll probably do a video later on exactly what's going on.
So definitely look for that up on IOP. I'm sure.
Yeah, let me explain one thing when I'm talking about dirty gloves. If y'all remember Margarito, right? There was a fighter named Antonio Margarito. When he fought, who was that? That he fought, the Puerto Rican fighter. Okay, well, all right. Well, he fought somebody and he had something. He had Paris of plaster in his gloves. Right, it turns your hand after a period of time. It goes in soft, but after a period of time, it turns your hands into bricks. Damn. Right, and you're hitting the individual with actual
if he did that, that's probably how he busted his eardrum.
Yeah, if you see the air hit from the side in the back of the head. Oh, yeah, thank you, Miguel Cotto. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. He fought Miguel Cotto and he knocked him down and knocked him out in the 11th round. Miguel Cotto's face looked like it looked like something. Y'all ever saw that Martin episode when he fought Tommy Hearns and his face was swole up?
Yeah,
his face looked like that. He had injuries and he had debilitating injuries, head injuries after that fight. He had to go to the hospital.
If he did do that, he needs to bring it up on charges too.
Right. Deontay Wilder jaw was broken. His eardrum was blown. It's out of control, but we're going to dig deeper into this while I bring it to you. This is major because if he did this guy's going to be brought up on charges. This is absolutely crazy right now.
All right, so we definitely want to keep this short because King's he's probably over there shaking right now.
Oh
but
my God!
One thing I really want to bring up is the price point. Obviously, this has been a huge factor. What do you guys personally feel like is a good price point, and what do you feel like is a realistic price point? Because I do think they're two different things.
Okay, but before we got off to talking about the boxing thing, you were asking about the RDNA stuff.
Right.
I'm glad we got new tech in these consoles and stuff, but I was always promised the world, and I wasn't given the world, so I'll take a wait and see approach. How is all of that RDNA stuff going to equal?
I agree. You got to see what it's doing.
I don't
first.
know. I need to see. But some of the
I
best
feel like
games,
that's with anything though. Like a lot of people running with new tech and thinking it's amazing tech. Sometimes you just literally have to wait and see exactly what's going on.
I'm only going to say I'm only saying that because we've heard about the cloud power. We've heard about the difference DX12 is supposed to make. ESRAM update, Windows 10, all this stuff, right? That we was kind of promised that
the cloud.
Yeah, we've been promised the world, and it hasn't necessarily came into fruition. So hopefully that works. Hopefully that's good. Hopefully we good. And
let me say to those things, all those things that you just mentioned are being implemented now. Maybe they get initially shown one generation ahead, but then it gets implemented to the point that now we understand the tech. See, so maybe this RDNA 2 stuff, maybe right now we don't fully see this full capability. Hopefully we do. We don't see the full capabilities until the next gen, because remember, we was laughing at the cloud and all that stuff in the beginning, but now it's starting to bear fruit, at the end of the generation. So we do need this new tech to break ground. And when they get their heads wrapped around the tech going forward, maybe at the end of the generation, we can really see the true benefits of said tech when it's there. But we do need new tech at all times.
Okay, so now that we talked about stuff like that, do you think it's not necessarily, the tech isn't performing how they are, or maybe they just announce them before they realistically know what they can do?
They listen, anything, just like what King said, anything with new tech, right? It takes people to be able to harness. It's like the cell processor in the PS3.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to be the greatest thing ever. They were supposed to be able to sell it. Doctors supposed to be able to use it. It was just, but it didn't do what it was supposed to do because it was too hard to develop for. Therefore, people are going to do the bare minimum, and that's kind of what it is. Luckily, we're back where we were back in the OG Xbox days, where the CPU and the RAM and everything is on the level of a current generation PC. So we finally came back where these consoles are literally on par with the majority of people. I mean, you're talking about 12 T-flops when a 2080 Ti, from what I understand, is 13 T-flops.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, hey man, that's a lot of power for a closed environment where they don't have to worry about stuff running in the background. They don't have to worry about the overhead. They can just tailor make that, customized for games. With that being said, hopefully these developers shouldn't cry about having the lack of power or being able to be creative. Their excuses have been taken off the table. Now, if you're a developer and you listen to this podcast, if you drop a whack game, that's your fault. Don't blame it on Microsoft. Don't blame it on Sony. That's your fault. You going in the bushes, as my man KingDavid would say.
So, definitely anything you want to comment on that, King, before we move on to the pricing points?
Listen, I feel that all the stuff is laid bare for you to make perfect games or make games of your vision, whatever your vision is. And anybody's thought or opinion of a game being whack, is usually just their opinion, because what you may not like, some person loves to death. Yeah. And I play games all the time, and people look at me like, what are you doing? Why are you playing that? And I say, listen, I can't play Call of Duty and Destiny all day. I gotta change the way my brain thinks, because we're training our brain to think in different ways and patterns. When we're playing these games is allowing us to think, dream, and imagine. So if you keep playing Call of Duty all day, all you're going to think about is killing, shooting, and maiming. All right. So go play a puzzle game and learn a new game that's available to you. But see, that's where the beauty of Game Pass is, because a game that you're curious about, but financially you can't afford. I don't have $60 to go drop on Puyo Pop. All right. So, but if I
don't think that game would be $60 in the store anyway, King.
But I'm just saying, for instance, it's a lot of games that I have that I instantly download. Then I put on a reminder, remind me to play this game. So when I go to boot up Destiny, it'll be like, yo, hey, remember this game that you installed?
Ain't played Buddha Pop yet.
Yeah, go play that. And I'll be like, you know what? I don't need to play Destiny. My guys ain't on yet. Let me see what's this about. And then I start playing it like I did with Children of Mortar. And I think that strategy, that ability to allow you to expand your portfolio in your brain, your taste, your likes. If you had a buffet, when you go to the buffet, when you go out to eat, you go get the same thing. Let me get that same meal that I know that's good, that I don't have to worry about. But when you go to the buffet, you get a chance to explore. That looks kind of nice. Let me try that. So now that you have the video game buffet, when it comes to the Game Pass, I want that everywhere. And I think now that we're going to have games of all type of ilks, because the technology is there. They're able to expand. They're able to use all this technology. It's only a benefit for all of us.
Yeah, and I definitely agree. That's why I always, say Game Pass, because I do think when it comes to the price, I think Game Pass is going to be a huge advantage that Microsoft has, because, even if they, go over Sony by $100 with the Series X, which I think they're going to be the same price. But let's say realistically it's $500, the PS5 is $400, and whatever, I don't know the Lockhart. I think that'd be $300 to $400. I have no clue. But I think that Game Pass being bundled for 1 month to 3 months is going to be really relevant, because that is a very good trade. That's a good promotion you can have. Buy the console, you get Halo for free pretty much for 3 months to a month. Do you think that Game Pass is going to be a huge card that they really, because I think right now we're getting the beta form of Game Pass, the beta form of how they're promoting Game Pass, the beta form of what Game Pass is going to really provide them right now. And I think when next gen starts, that's when their actual plans for Game Pass starts. What do you guys think about that?
Here's my take on Game Pass, right? Great service as it is now. Definitely
there's a but in here, isn't there?
And I'm going to add my but, right? And I hope there's not a but. But we're seeing lately third-party developers are creating their own service, right? Everybody's pulling their games out of everybody else's stores to promote their own store. And I get to see that that's going to happen with Game Pass. So once these third parties start removing their content from Game Pass, all you're left with is first-party titles. In this generation,
but I don't think you're ever going to...
Let me finish. Let me finish before I get my point. Yeah. These first-party titles from this generation hasn't been enough to sustain. It's probably not going to be enough to sustain Game Pass. Now, once next generation hit, yes, I'm going to be on the Halo. I'm going to be on the Forza. I'm going to be on the first-party stuff. But as it is right now, if tomorrow all third parties start removing their games, those 200 games, that's going to leave you with a shallow list. And I think a lot of people are going to be like, oh, well, right now, I mean, I got it for this game, or I got it because it had that, because it had, a lot of these third-party games that made it such a great deal. It may not be a make or break, but that is going to weigh a lot in.
Let me say something real quick before you go,
I'm going to give you a buff on it. Yeah.
Look, when it comes to Game Pass, I don't think we'll ever get to a point where you're going to see everyone pull out of Game Pass, because I don't think that everyone's going to make their own service. Sure, you'll have EA do it. You'll have people try it and fail and then go right back to Game Pass. And what I want to bring up, after King says, we're gonna go over just a couple of the games. Like, I see a Plague's Tale. Like, I don't see a lot of these indie devs, publishers making their own form like that because it costs a lot of money to maintain this stuff.
All right. So what I've noticed and what I surmised is when they show those games on top of the sizzle reel, when Microsoft is giving you that 1 or 2 minute sizzle reel at E3 or whatever they shows are, those games wind up in Game Pass, right? So market that in your head, mark that in your head. Let your brain know, all right, I saw that game, I saw that game, I saw that game. So that means don't go out and buy that game if you have Game Pass, because that game is coming to Game Pass. And I believe the deal is, okay, we'll promote your game, we'll put your game up there, the world can see your game. But when the sales die down after 6 to 7 months, we get that game inside Game Pass, depending on the game. We get that game inside Game Pass, and you're going to still continue to make money after this, but we're going to have the game inside Game Pass for a series of probably 6 to 7 months after that part. And then it'll leave out of Game Pass. Game Pass is revolving. It's not something that is stationary. And as far as the bigger companies like EA, they're never putting their stuff in Game Pass until EA Access falls out or Orion or whatever stuff that they use on the PC falls out. So we know that they're going to do their own thing, and that's cool, because a lot of times you don't want to get EA access anyway. You just want to pick up one game, Madden.
That's how it is a lot of the time,
right? You understand? So this is not
you'll be in a party with someone and just get EA access, man. Pay for this month, play the game, and never touch it again.
And never touch it again. So when those companies do that, I do hope that they do try it, and I do want them to fail so they can go sniveling back to Sony, sniveling back to Microsoft, and hopefully Nintendo. I don't ever think Nintendo will ever adopt anything close to this, because they've been charging you and recharging you and triple charging you for the same game for years. So I don't ever believe they will ever adopt something like that unless it's massive change that forces them, like the Wii U that failed. They must fail in order for them to adapt this strategy. They gotta fail. And it sucks that I'm calling for them to fail. But yes, I would love for Nintendo to fail in order to give me a service that I can pick up, because I do not play my Switch at all.
Well, listen, I'll back you up on that. They don't even have a proper online system, no party chat. Some of the stuff that we should have had, 2-3 generations ago, they don't have, and it doesn't seem like they're in a priority move to give their fans that, which is crazy. But they get a pass for some reason, where Microsoft and Sony don't get a pass.
No, they don't. We don't get no passes.
Exactly. So let me tell you this, right? And this is why I say about the store. I'm on my PC right now, and I'm gonna tell you all the different stores I have. I have EA Origin. I have Epic Game Store. I have Steam. I have Uplay. I have Battle.net. I have what else?
Wow.
I'm just looking, right. So I'm just going down the list.
Are those subscription services, sir?
These are subscription services. These are
Ubisoft does have a subscription.
These are everybody got their own different store, their own different thing, right? So, I get it. This is PC, but their content is still the same. If everybody's going to create their own separate thing, then it's going to be hard for them to keep up a service.
Right, let me show the chat this list of Game Pass games, because it's like I said, if you look at this list, almost all of it is Microsoft already. Like, you got the Wolfenstein, that's Bethesda. Frostpunk, that's an indie game. I don't think that would ever go, because I don't think that game would ever go to any kind of big third party, the subscription services you were saying. You got the GTA 5,
that's the biggest one.
It's like I said, you got the Tekken. I don't think who makes Tekken again?
Namco.
Do you guys think they would ever make one? Have they already made one? A lot of these games are already in here. I don't think they're gonna be doing.
But here's the thing, right? With a game like Tekken, that game is going to be on PlayStation. It's going to be on Xbox. It's going to be on PC.
But do you think let's say a world when it comes to stuff like, I saw someone in the chat earlier said that they think Cyberpunk might be Game Pass day one.
It's going.
So if Cyberpunk,
Game Pass?
I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be day one on. I think it's going to be day one on console, not PC.
Yeah, not PC.
Listen, if that happens, I mark my words, that'll be huge.
I already said.
But it's like It's
I
like
already said it would, only for the simple fact that if you're looking at the patterns of Microsoft, every game that has shown up on that screen has made its way to Game Pass in some day or whatever. So I'm not going to buy
and if you
Darksiders Genesis. I'm not going to buy it. I want to buy it, but I know it's going to come. So it doesn't make no sense for me to run out and purchase something where I can go purchase a game that I know for a fact isn't showing up.
I think the reason
Spend your money wisely.
there's a couple reasons it cannot be on Game Pass on day one, but it's like I said, I'm looking at it. A lot of these are Microsoft's games anyway. All these Bard Tales, I'm pretty sure they're all owned by that last studio they bought. Like Microsoft is pretty much single-handedly making this Game Pass subscription with their games. Obviously, they got the third-party stuff in here, but the majority of these games is Microsoft stuff already.
No, I get that, but you got to realize this, right? People don't sign up for that subscription for those games that you just.
But how do you know that?
Like, well,
so they don't have a huge third-party support on here, but Game Pass has still doubled since last quarter. So what are people subscribing to Game Pass for if it's not these games?
No. You're not. People are signing up for that subscription for the Grand. What you just said, the Grand Theft Auto.
Grand Theft Auto just went in Game Pass not long ago. You can't use that as an example.
Games come and they go, right? But you got to realize, I mean, if you're going to say that, then you might as well say most people signed up because there was a good deal, the $1 deal, the $2 deal.
But see, Netflix, every other subscription does a whole month for free.
What I'm saying, if they're going to leave with just Bard's Tale and Wasteland,
but that's not going to be the only games. There's a reason. There's a reason they're still working with second-party games to make that Telltale things with the people that made Life is Strange. There's a reason they're still working with third-party market.
You're making an argument that I'm not even fighting. I'm just saying, if they start moving those third-party games out of that store, that is less of an incentive for a gamer to go.
Yes,
that's all I'm saying.
No, you're right. But what they do is they keep it consistent. Like if they take out 3 games, they put in 6.
Yes,
and I've been noticing, but they know their rotation. They know what's coming in and what's going out. When it's a dearth of games in there, then it's a problem. But they've been pretty much consistent in growing the library and keeping really good games inside the library. And I think that's what's going to draw people financially going ahead. Listen, guys, financially, we're looking at a recession coming. All right. I can attest to this because I see the sales numbers, and the last time I saw sales numbers and numbers like this with my companies, we hit a recession. We hit it really bad, and that was during George Bush's term. So Republican in office, you're going to hit a recession. You're going to hit a wall, and this is going to happen going forward. So what I'm trying to do is shore up ends on my company where my employees are kind of blanketed and a little bit safe, but you're going to start making cutbacks. You're going to start looking at things saying, oh, I don't need this or I don't need that, because there's not going to be a surplus of cash soon. So when you're doing that, you have to understand this is a luxury, people. This is not something that you need to sustain your life. It's not food. This is not electricity, and this is not shelter. This is a luxury item. So when you're doing your luxuries and when you're doing your hobbies, you want to make sure that you get the most out of your hobbies with the least amount of money coming out of your pocket, so it doesn't affect your quality of life. Right? So don't allow certain things to affect your quality of life. So if Game Pass is giving you some form of value, use that. If PlayStation Now is giving you that form of value, use that, because soon it's going to be a situation where you won't be able to afford a certain game, or you won't be able to afford make cutbacks. Don't make cutbacks in real life things to make cutbacks in hobby things. These are hobbies, and understand you have to have your priorities straight going forward. That's all I'm saying. So use Game Pass for what it's for. Use PlayStation Now for what it's for, and these other services, because Jay has 6 to 7 different services on his PC. That's absolutely insane. We're offline, guys. Oh, we back now.
Yeah, I have no clue how that happened.
Yeah, the Republicans shot me down. They was like, "Oh, what the hell is he talking about? Recession? Shut him down!"
No, I totally agree. Are we back online?
No, we off. We started to get back online, and we off.
Yeah,
now we back.
See what happened when you start dropping that knowledge?
When you start
Some of these
speaking
people
science,
trying to snipe me, man.
yeah, when you start speaking that science, they said, who the hell just told them we having a stop his mouth? Stop his mouth right now.
It's Rock because he said I completely disagree with David, and then 2 seconds later the podcast goes off.
You don't think that we're heading for a recession right now? Think about it. Just watch. Just see it. I mean, I'm pretty sure that you have stock options and stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure that you looked at your mutual funds and you looked over and you saw the dip because there's a lot of incomes. They tell you that we're winning, but when I lose $7,000 in a month, I understand I'm not winning. So I know what's happening.
I think. Listen, Game Pass. I can't say enough good things about it. That has allowed me to.
I mean, I see a lot of people picking up an Xbox because they don't have to buy the first party stuff. They just have to give that $10 month.
No, you know what I know? I was with Jaydub when he hit me. He was like, "Yo, we can play that Bleeding Edge right now. Let's get it on."
Hey, speaking of that, hold on, Jaydub. Speaking of that, Jaydub, how much time did you realistically put in Bleeding Edge? Don't lie to me.
I was in the alpha. I was playing anybody.
Yeah, we've been talking about it. He told me how it changed from when he had it. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, you can ask Tim and all that, man. Like I've been playing that game.
I love that game. I really do. I don't care what people say. I love that game.
No, but here's the thing, right? In this may just be my opinion, but you guys, I mean, kind of tell me what you think. Here's the thing, right? Because of this generation and how it's went and how it's gone so far, and the lack of quality content that this generation has produced in total, right? I'm not saying none. There's a lot, but in total, it seems like every single game that Microsoft drops is going to get blown up to be the, hey, is this the next greatest thing? When Microsoft didn't even intend, we all know, right, that this game was worked on a long time ago. It didn't get picked up, and so Microsoft
apparently it was worked on and they actually stopped. Like it was put on the back burner for a while.
It's a passion project.
But that's my point, right? This game was never intended to be the mainstream. Phil said, look, we bought you. You already got some kind of almost ready to go. Go ahead, knock it out. We'll put it in Game Pass. That'll just be added there. But because there hasn't been a lot of content from the Xbox, I mean, last year they launched Gears 5 and Crackdown 3. Those are the two exclusive titles for the big titles that they launched. And so it's not like they were dropping all this stuff all the time. Like Sony can drop 20 games a year, and 15 of them can be trash. But people only remember those 5s that actually got good because it was so much. Whereas it's on the flip side where Microsoft got to drop at least 2 or 3 quality titles, because if not, then what we're talking about. But Bleeding Edge being that mainstream game when it was never intended for. So that's why it gets the scrutiny. Now, I went on the record saying that this game is probably going to get 70 to 75 Metacritic, only because I know games. I know gamers, bro. And gamers are very fickle and they're unrealistic about a lot of stuff.
To be honest with you, though, the majority of people I talked to that I know weren't on that pony juice, they like Bleeding Edge. Like it's a fun game. It's got issues.
Guys, hey, Addict, listen, those guys you're talking about, those guys are the same guys that said they spent hundreds of hours in Crackdown. Those are the guys that said they spent it. I mean, these are not the most reliable force type of guys.
But I'm not even referring to them people. And I know who you're talking. I'm referring to the people that just be chilling in parties with. Like, yo, you play that Bleeding Edge? He's like, got some issues, but I liked it. Like, there's a lot of people that like Bleeding Edge. Like,
okay, what I take away from Bleeding Edge is this. Okay, it's the same thing like Dreams. It's somebody's passion project that got pushed through. And the only reason why is somebody was coming at me because I don't play betas, right? And being that it wasn't in color, I read it and I just was like, whatever. But the fact of the matter is, Nina Christensen, CEO of Ninja Theory, was my first interview. And when I went back to FanFest last year, we had a chance and she walked me through Bleeding Edge. She actually introduced me to her game. And I explained to her I didn't like how Microsoft showed it on the screen, I thought that they used old assets to the game because the game looked marvelous when I saw it at FanFest, right? It looked leaps and bounds before that. But I understand why that is because these rails and stuff is put together before you get those demos that's on the floor, because those demos usually finish like a week before E3.
We waited for like 2 hours to play Blue Edge.
So you can get the best of the game, right? So the game looked amazing. And that's what I took away from it. And, we spoke about it. So I owed it to her to try the game in an isolated environment in the comfort of my own home, to play it, to see what I really thought about it outside of the hoopla and everybody jumping around screaming, yo, did you play this? Did you see this? Because I didn't get a chance to take it all in. Pause. But when I did get a chance to play it, I found something very intriguing, very different than a lot of the other ones that are out there. And when I was like capturing the base, and it teaches you to stick together, because if you get caught out in the streets dolo, you're going to get hammered. And your team is at a deficit because you're not there to spawn you away. So it teaches you to work better and to use your powers in conjunction with your team, which I found very, very good. That's also the biggest detriment to the game.
That's the biggest thing I was going to say, is you got a lot of people that love going solo on Call of Duty, love going solo on Overwatch. Look, Overwatch is a team-oriented game, but you can definitely do stuff by yourself. You don't need to help
You're not
people.
doing it here.
On this game, the moment you try to... Because what separates this from Overwatch is it's strictly melee. So when you come across someone, the majority of their attacks is close range, so they're all going to be together.
Yep.
So the biggest thing that I've learned that you have to do in this game is the number one step: isolate. You got to isolate their healer from the other ones. That's why they give you a bunch of abilities to push people away from stuff. And the next two, once you kill him, you got to go in for their attack unit, and then you got to kill just whoever is left. And a lot of people just want to go in there and kill all four of them.
No, you have to have a strategy to it. So it's very strategic, very beautiful to look at. I saw it scale from the X down to the S, and I love the scalability of the engine. And that made me believe in Microsoft Vision going forward. This one game, actually, I got a chance to see it scale, and it scaled to a point where I was like, I just had to remember that I was playing on the S. I was like, oh yeah, I'm playing on the S. Oh yeah, it does look really still good.
I'm not gonna lie. To your point, graphically, the game looks really nice. When I was in the alpha, that's the first thing that stuck out, was how sharp the textures were and how colorful the game was. And I was like, I can rock with this. This art style, it's nice, it's clean, it's really good. And here's the thing about it right now. The new Microsoft, and I call this the new Microsoft, because
it is.
They're doing things that is no longer what they used to do. So I call it the new Microsoft. I hope and I pray that we've gotten past the days of one and dones, where I feel like this game can be cultured in the future with a sequel to be the game that they need it to be or want it to be.
When I knew that, like you said, is the new Microsoft with Recore 2.
Yeah. Well, I've been hearing rumblings about that. Yeah.
Yes.
Because in the past, Microsoft would have
I think I'm the only one that liked Recore. I think I'm the only one
that was with you. Yeah.
Listen, this whole generation, we spent how much time begging for Rise 2, Sunset Overdrive 2. I mean, you got developers begging, saying, "Look, we just need the word, and we on the sequel." And I feel never got the word, and that just puzzled.
We're gonna be closing this out here in the next couple minutes. I just want to point that out. I feel the majority of the reason was that is because, you got the Rise. They didn't know Cryotech, so they couldn't really dictate what Cryotech did. They were on IP. Same thing with Sunset Overdrive. They didn't know Sunset Overdrive, so they can't dictate what Insomniac does. And
but
I think
Insomniac had been begging them.
That thing is done already. That game is done already. They just needed them to publish it. The same thing with the Rise. The Rise was done already. They just needed them to publish it. Microsoft did not believe in what happened. The sales didn't reflect what they wanted it to reflect. So those games are dead on the floor. And that's old regime. I think the new regime, I think the Game Pass formula allows these games to get in there and try to make something happen.
Perfect.
I honestly believe
I agree. And the top litter from Game Pass that they get the most traction, that's the game that's going to get that big AAA mainstream game the next time that they come out with. And listen, I'm all for it. This strategy that they have, I'm all for it. I think it can be a winner. It's a way to test the waters to see what these guys really want. Do they
it's
really
just
want
like
us to sink $100 million into this game, or are they just blowing smoke? Let's see.
it's
So
just
guess
like
what?
King said. This entire generation, Microsoft's been playing chess. Okay, this is how you get me. I'm gonna take this piece. I'm gonna take this piece. I'm gonna take this piece. And then when they set the new border for next gen, they're using the pieces they took and putting it down on their side.
Just to add to that, and I want to say this here. A lot of these games, when you make one game, that first game, right, you don't have to start back over from scratch making that second game. The assets are already there. You just need to tweak it and add some more levels or whatever you're going to do. So that's why this generation coming up, I don't think it's going to take us 3 and 4 years to see sequels to games. These sequels that we had this generation that we love, they're going to be coming a lot sooner than we think. Just watch me. Just watch what I say, because a lot of even Insomniac and Sony's been teasing like Spider-Man.
I
Spider-Man
think they're
sequel.
making a Ratchet and Clank before Spider-Man.
Could be, but they pumped in more money, so they got separate teams that can work on that. But we will be seeing a lot of these sequels to games that we wanted come a lot sooner this generation. I know people like to say, well, every generation there's this dry spell for the first 2 to 3 years.
I don't think that's going to be this year.
That's
this
old
time.
talk. That's the way stuff
I
was
think both
previously.
consoles are going to consistently throw out content all generation now.
Well, they got the incentive in these Google Stadia and these other big corporations trying to jump in and try to take their shine. But let's do that price thing. Let's
that's
let's
what I was about to say.
We're
going to end this. We're going to end this with the price. Like I said, I want both of you to give me your price that you expect. Now, you can go ahead and give me the Lockhart. We know that exists. It's just they haven't announced it. And your price point and the realistic price point. Like what you would personally do and what the realistic price point would be. We'll start with Jaydub.
All right. For the Xbox Series X, I think the price is going to be $599. Only because it's a lot of power in there, and I just don't see Microsoft saying, yeah, we got all the money in the world, we don't mind taking that huge cut. Nah, that ain't how business work. They're going to keep up with that same mantra. This is a premium product. We have a console for you if you not ready to spend.
Don't say that. We have a console for you.
I'm willing to spend. Obviously, we'll, as gamers, we'll spend unlimited amounts of money on these consoles. We don't care. But the mainstream, they'll spend $500 to $600. I do believe they can get by with a $599 price tag.
And then what do you think the Lockhart's going to be?
The Lockhart will probably come around $399 price tag for that, and that'll be your mainstream. That's just what it is. PS5, while we don't know the specs of it yet, right? So we don't know what they're going to have. But if they have anything similar to what Xbox come, I think they're going to match that price. I don't think they're going to sit there and take $100 loss.
So you think that they will be $599?
I do.
See, that's what I was. Remember, King? That's what I was saying. I think that's what their price is right now, and they're waiting to see. They're waiting to see if Xbox is willing to take that price cut, because if Xbox does it, Sony gonna have to do it, and I think that's the reason they've been so quiet.
I don't listen. Here's the thing about it. I think Sony wanted to, right? They still want to undercut because they still want to be in that same position and keep that momentum. But I think now that it's confirming that the hardware that's in there, I think they're going to say, well, we're not, if we take a cut, it'll be $50. It's not going to be $100. Why would you take a $100 cut when you can have the same effect by taking a lesser cut?
Yep.
Yeah, and I get that. It's like I said, it's just my personal opinion. What do you think, King?
I think both systems come in at $500, $499. I think Microsoft pushes the envelope because I believe the aggressive Microsoft. See, we're going off the figures and the thoughts of old Microsoft. I think they're going to supplement income when it comes to Game Pass and subscription services. And also, don't forget, these games still sell. Halo will still be in the store. First-party games still sell in the store. And the fact that you have a service that you can be like, well, but if you have this, then you can get it over here for the free, basically. So I believe the services over a period of time supplements that. Also, they have the service where you can get the system the consoles, just same way you get your cell
Finance.
phones.
Yeah.
And then plus, I think they don't have a problem being the same price as Sony either, because they know that Game Pass will be relevant to some people. All you have to
Right.
do is go in and get the console. You get Halo going out the door. You don't have to buy another another game. So you can get a controller. You can get a headset.
Yeah, I believe both systems come in at $499. I believe Microsoft is taking a huge loss when it comes in $499, but that's a huge gamble in order to win. They can't allow Sony to have $100 price reduction at all because it doesn't work. I don't care what the Lockhart does. I don't care what the Lockhart would be. Whatever the Lockhart comes in at, I believe it comes in at $100 cheaper than these guys, whatever the price point they do set. So if they come in at $5, I believe the Lockhart is $4. Just to be the one that makes more money. That's going to be the money maker.
Yes.
You know, that's going to be the system that, okay, you have the loss that you're taking over here with the power narrative, and you have the Game Pass to supplementing their income. But the money maker is going to be the Lockhart. The money maker is going to be the one that's going to sell to the masses. The masses,
And that's the
all
one
they
they're going to make
care
money
about
off of.
is being able to play with the other team. And, you know, that's the dudes that, okay, I just got a 4K television. I don't have an 8K television. I don't care about that stuff. Or I don't have a 4K television. I have this super 1080p television, the 60 frames per second. I care about this part right here. So those are the super casuals that just want to be in the conversation, that want to be down with you guys and play. So I believe that sells. But this is the thing that I think is going to happen. I think Sony's going to see that strategy, and they're going to develop a slim version of the PlayStation 5. And I believe that's going to go head in head with the Lockhart. I honestly believe they will not allow Microsoft to have that base all to themselves. I don't believe so. I believe you will get a surprise with a slim version of the PlayStation 5 at the same price as the Lockhart, to go head in head with the Lockhart to maintain that narrative of keeping pace. I believe so.
Let me ask you this, because I'm kind of new with this whole Lockhart stuff. I only heard from the rumors, but what is Lockhart supposed to accomplish?
Lockhart
Like,
is supposed to.
where does it fit? Because you got that. I mean, you got the S, you got the SAD edition, you got the
okay.
X.
Lockhart
where
is
does it fit?
Lockhart is supposed to be like pretty much the SAT edition. It plays everything 1080p to 1440p, 60 frames. Like it's supposed to be, if you, because a lot of people don't have 4K
That
TVs
already, like, don't.
But you see, okay, it's more powerful than the X right now
because
that we
it's
have.
different architecture. It's
The
stronger
different
architecture.
architecture to it. It makes it more powerful than X, faster than X, more stable than the X, because going forward, that's going to be the base, and then the X is going to be the high end. So I believe every generation for any Xbox system will always have that, the S edition, the budget, not the budget, but the mainstay edition. Then you're going to have the premium item. It's the same thing when you go to buy a car. When you go to buy a car, you have the LS and then you have the LT. So I believe that's where it's going to lie.
So it's an X
in between these.
It's like an X on steroids.
Yes, basically.
Okay.
And the X is going to get phased out. I believe actually
Wow.
once those come out, I believe the X is going to go the way of
Though-
the X, because right now it's $299.
Yeah, I don't think that's going up. What they'll do is they'll use that to, if you don't want to get this, you don't want to get that. If you have an extra, fine. But sooner or later they'll start phasing the X out. Now it'll be one of those things where when the new consoles come out, they'll still act like the X is around, but it won't be on shelves.
Yeah, but you know that, Jay. You see, after a period of time, the PlayStation 3 wasn't available.
No.
It slipped into the background. It disappeared.
I get that, but what I'm saying is they just came out with this console two and a half years ago.
But by the time it comes out, it's going to be 3, and then by the time it's phased out, it'll be 4. Like it is a mid-generation console.
Yeah, at the 5th year, you won't be able to find those things.
No, I get that. I just, because Phil, he talked about in the past with the No Man Left Behind stuff, he had to change that. Hopefully, he has changed that.
Well, he did. He said sooner or later they'll start phasing out consoles that the games can't function.
I've never
with.
been that gamer where I'm like, leave people behind because I want to move forward, and I shouldn't have to be hamstrung because of the guy who just got his console, his Pro or his X last week.
But Jay, this leads into my whole conversation with people in the know and people that are in a different position that understands how the money market is going. And if you know that something's on the horizon to limit funds, you're gonna say no man left behind. You're still gonna be included until we can get past this part. Then we're gonna force you to upgrade. But during this rough time right here, if you just purchased and you just got down with us, don't worry, you're still included. I honestly believe he understands and he see the tea leaves in the water where we're gonna face going forward right now. And then financially, once we get out of the situation, then they can upgrade when we have a whole bunch of games. The same thing with the PlayStation is going to have the same exact model. You know, when they tell you that they're going to have exclusive games to the PlayStation 5, yes, they will. Like the same thing with the Xbox. They're just not going to be first party. You understand? That's it. It's just everybody's in a hoopla for no reason.
But at the end of the day, you know, we're going to have to wait for more information. But, you know, I think we're going to close this up. King definitely got to go. What?
Before you
I got to go to Macy's. I got to go shop.
Can I ask y'all this one question?
Yes.
I said, man, I got to ask my brothers this question when we're going to podcast.
Yeah.
With the news that came out today, what would you think if Sony finally came out, right? Because you know Sony, they always sit back and watch, and you know.
No, this new Sony, sit back and watch. I like old Sony.
Yeah.
So what's funny is Microsoft is the aggressive one now, and Sony seems like they're the passive aggressive one now. They're just watching from
they
the.
Get to do that because when you're a winner, and when you're the lead, you get to
yeah,
do
but
whatever.
sooner or later, if you're the winner and you continue watching, you don't stay the winner.
Let him say his point, please. I gotta hear this.
No, it could be to you. You're right. It could be to your pearl, but what I'm just saying, like. When you're in the lead, you don't feel a rush to you go by your own time, and that's just
okay, Jay. Right. So just say what you gonna say. Just say your point because I just want to hear it.
No, but I wanted to ask you guys.
Yeah.
If Sony will finally come out with their specs and everything, and it's carbon for carbon, pretty much the same thing of what the X Series X is going to be. You know, same 12 T-flop, same.
It's not going to be Jay.
No, I'm just saying. I don't know.
It's not.
I don't know. I don't know.
Jay,
so what's the question? What's the question?
What's
the question?
Okay, so the question is, if that happens, do you guys think the price is still going to be $100 difference between the PlayStation and the X, or you?
I think regardless what happens and regardless what Sony announces, Microsoft is going to make sure they're on the same playing field when those consoles come out.
I think
Microsoft right now, I think they're right now both at 6, and they're trying to see who announces price first. Because if you notice, Microsoft didn't announce the price on that beast.
Nope.
Because they're waiting for Sony to announce the price on theirs. Because I think Sony is sitting at 6, and so is Microsoft. But they know that because the only thing that they can't figure out is pricing, because that's internally. That's not over there at AMD.
I'm gonna tell you this: Sony is going to, because at E3 every generation, every year, Microsoft always goes first, and I've never liked that for them because I'm saying you're gonna go. So
are
first,
you saying that
behind the scenes? As soon as they see your show and you name that price, they're gonna they hold the cards and they get to undercut.
But do you think they'll hold the cards to E3?
Yeah, because since they're not going, they can do it whenever. And
I
Sony,
get that. You know, they
can do it. Listen, they can do their event, or they can just drop a tweet out there saying, "We're gonna $3.99, $4.99, or whatever it is." Because if I was Microsoft, man, and I know,
I think they'll both be the same price. I'm confident they'll both be the same price.
Have to drop. They have to name the price of these consoles,
and I get that.
I think Sony will. They're going to be the last person to name the price. That's what I think.
And I understand that.
I think Microsoft is going to force it to. Because Microsoft been smoking them out.
Because look at today's announcement. There was no real particular thing that they needed to do today. People have been saying, "Oh, we only know what it looks like. We don't know the specs." Oh, it feels like, "Oh, really? Bam! There's the specs."
Tell you why that came out today.
Right? We knew this. They just confirmed what we already knew. That's the only thing that happened today.
He said we capping, but put that in Jaydub. Put that in whatchamacallit. Let him know that he capping. Put it in color. Let's see it. Let me tell you the reason why it came out today. This is the last week of the month. Remember, it was a rumor that Sony would release any form of information in February.
Mhm.
So everybody was banking on that. Now, when they said that, Phil told you
Mhm.
February is going to be a good month.
Mhm.
Now, everybody thought that meant for Bleeding Edge.
Oh, yeah.
No. He knew the last week of the month that he was going to give you this information.
Mhm.
This information came out, blew the internet up, and everybody's like, okay, well, what's Sony gonna do? Sony's not gonna do nothing until next month.
Mhm.
They already know each other's timeline and each other's schedule. What Phil is doing, he's pushing the narrative.
Mhm.
Now, Sony's going to have to show form, they're going to have to show spec, all right, just to keep pace. Price doesn't have to come out to, like Jay said, and I think price does not come out until August. I really, well,
So you
no,
think
no,
both of them
July.
might hold
I
back till
think
next
July.
month?
I think July. I think a month after
After
E3.
E3. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a month. I think they're
People
gonna
got a
stream
pre-order.
until a month
People got
after
a
E3.
pre-order. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
but
anyway,
they're gonna tell you it's up though.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys coming here. So King David working that you're gonna have to let that statue spin. Is it up yet? Is it up
You want to
yet?
see that? You want me to turn the beat around?
Is it
Turn
up
the
yet?
beat around.
Is King of the Statues up yet?
Yeah. Well, no, King of the Statues will be up later on tonight. I had to do
All
a
right.
whole bunch of stuff today. I'm getting ready for
So
Patch to
definitely
go.
look out for
So
that. That
King of the
King of the
Statues will be
Statues
up today.
in
And
depth on Scarlet Witch, I think it is. Isn't it?
yeah, that's Scarlet Witch right there in the vision. So it's going. I'm gonna give you a whole background story on the Scarlet Witch and why she looks so lovely right there. You understand why she looks completely different than the MCU. That suit is not battle ready. But also you can catch me at Combat Talk. And if this breaking news pans out, I'm going to do a breaking news Combat Talk on this breaking development that just went on. Also, you can catch me at IOP Sundays at 1 p.m. During football season, 11 a.m. Standard Eastern Time. And this week, we're going to drop a whole bunch of trailers, a whole bunch of game footage, a whole bunch of interviews. But we're going to also do at least one or two preemptive shows so you guys can know what's going on. We're going to show you some footage right there. So if you joined us, if you joined ILP, if you're part of our realm, you're definitely going to get that content exclusively first, and then we're going to give it out to the masses because we do plan on giving those people that do subscribe and that are on our Patreon, that is supporting, that is helping us out. We do plan to give you all that exclusive content and information first. So thank you guys for showing up. I appreciate every last one of you guys that did tune in, and hopefully you guys can keep coming back. And also remember, if you want to be heard, put it in color so I can talk about it.
And Jaydub, aka I ain't gonna even say it. I'm not gonna say it, Jaydub. But where can people find you besides on Twitter, where he definitely is an interesting character on Twitter. Where can people find
Come
you?
on. I admit it. I keep Twitter lit. You guys can find me on my channel, Jaydub on YouTube. Check me out there, man. I'm gonna get back and start cutting some more videos and stuff like that. I've just kind of been a little wonky lately and been lazy. I'm stop being lazy, man. Go ahead. But I did upload. Check out my last video. I went to PAX South and got some developer interviews, some games and stuff like that. I still got a ton of footage to cut. I'm gonna try to get some up there soon for you guys.
Yeah, definitely. If you guys are still in the chat, subscribe to the channel, man. I'm doing a little bit more consistent content. It takes a lot to do this YouTube thing. People don't realize the amount of work it takes to make these videos. But I definitely have more Addict shows. I don't know when. Jaydub might be on it, depending if it's not an Xbox topic or not. But until next time, I'm out of here. Well, we're out of here. Peace.
Peace.